All right, let's now take you to the Mosaiek Church in Randburg ahead of those announcements, the 2025 National Senior Certificate Matric results announcement this evening. That's where our reporter Lopang Alamu is. Lopang, of course, we are expecting that technical briefing to begin any moment now. Speak to us about what's happening there now.
Definitely, Unati. We're just waiting for that briefing to formally start. It seems there might be some kind of a delay, but we will link back to that briefing as soon as it starts. It happens annually, as you mentioned, and they just really take us through the technicalities of the National Senior Certificate. But you'll also notice behind us, and those guests for the main ceremony have already started trickling into the venue. Security is quite tight, so there might be some kind of a delay there. And we're also still expecting those top achievers to make their way to the venue together with the minister. And as things stand, all seems to be above board. The preparations have been going quite well. Just under 2 hours now until the class of 2025 know how they fared in their results. As soon as that happens, it will then now trickle down to individual anxiety, where some of these students will now be anxiously waiting for 12 a.m. Now that's when they start receiving their matric results. We already spoke to Professor Mary McCoff earlier on some of the things that these students can look to doing. Also speaking on the fact that university is not the only option out there. Your TVET colleges are not the only options. There are so many skills training courses that some of these students can look into doing, because we spoke about the number of students who wrote their matric exams, almost 1 million of those students across the board and nationally, that is. But what happens after matric? Some of our universities, some of the TVET colleges cannot or do not have the resources to absorb all those learners. Now, those are some of the conversations we'll be having after the announcement. But I think for now, we leave it here on just outside that venue, and I'm hoping the technical briefing has started, Unati.
Lopang, in fact, it has started, but before we just leave it for now, I want to just get into some of the conversations that you've been having with experts. I mean, one such conversation was how mental health was really an issue, not only this year but in previous years. But it is something that a lot of experts are saying it should be prioritized more within the system, not only just for pupils but also for educators. Just give us a sense in terms of what experts have been saying.
Unati, that's correct. We've been speaking to multiple teachers' unions, and one of the key things that they speak about in our conversations is the fact that teachers really are having a hard time managing their responsibilities as well as some of their personal affairs. You'd remember, Unati, over the past few years, we see more and more videos online. We see more and more complaints. We see more and more stories relating to the abuse of students by teachers, as well as the abuse of teachers by students. So that's been an issue that's been growing over the years, even physically so, where we've seen quite a number of videos over the years where students, or pupils rather, would be assaulting teachers, and they also then have to go through the process. They cannot retaliate, and that's really some of the things that our teachers have been facing. We also do know that those evergreen situations that we've seen over the years, overcrowded classrooms, that's a big factor. The lack of resources, and those would include your textbooks, the lack of infrastructure. Now, there's not too many things that teachers can do without the support that they need, and that includes the infrastructure that we're speaking about. That would include your classrooms, that would include your stationery, really basic things that would ensure that teachers are able to do the job that they are meant to do with ease, and also ensuring that students have someone who's really capable, who's in the right mental space to help them academically. So, Unati.
And in fact, we're just looking at those visuals, Lopang, inside that technical briefing. The Department of Basic Education's Deputy Director General, I beg your pardon, Hubert Mweli, already on the stand. We've seen, through the previous years, and we'll take our viewers to it as soon as we can establish that link and that sound. But we've seen that this, technical briefing is quite important because it speaks about a number of things in the education cycle, particularly in that particular examination cycle, touching on things like system readiness, marking and moderation processes, outcomes on standardization and the integrity of the assurance measures. We know, of course, that Umalusi has granted approval for these particular examinations.